Welcome to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, soon to be joined here by Rob. He's having a little technical difficulties here this evening. Be on just shortly there for you guys. We have a ton of information to give you guys here today. Absolute ton. So, of course, we got all the coaching updates there for you guys. We have new coaching hires. I mean, coaching hires are happening at the minute now. I mean, for those of y'all watching live, literally just an hour ago, the Tennessee Titans just picked a new head coach. So, I mean, things are just changing left and right. We had Jordan Raanan giving his update on everything going on with Brian Daboll and the New York Giants and all the coaching rumors and all. So, yeah, tons of information here to go for you guys. And, of course, let's not forget, this weekend what we have, the divisional round of the playoffs. So let's go over everything with you guys here. So we start off here, of course, first off with the Jordan Raanan report on head coach Brian Daboll. That's on his Breaking Big Blue ESPN podcast there. Now, Jordan Raanan is one of those guys that I feel like doesn't care what he says about the New York Giants. As far as what I mean by that is, like, he doesn't worry about ticking off the Giants. Because let's be honest, the Giants aren't kicking ESPN out of the building. You know, he is their ESPN reporter. He ain't going anywhere unless his bosses decide that. And the Giants are going to be like, no, we want ESPN in here. So he holds no loyalty necessarily to the Giants. But at the same point, if you read his material, you listen to his program, he doesn't hate the Giants. You know, he lives in Jersey. He's a local guy at that point. And he's one of those guys that just says his opinion. Like it or not, that's his opinion. And he gave a lot of opinion there on the whole Brian Daboll assistant coach coordinator issues that are going on there. So first off, Jordan Raanan said that Thomas McGaughey also wanted out of the building, regardless of being fired, regardless of the job he did this season here, which I think we can all agree, unfortunately, it was time to go. Great guy who was here a long time. Much respect for him. It was just time. Needed a new voice there in that room. And like I said, that's what he's saying, is that McGaughey wanted out either way. McGaughey was not upset at all. He wanted nothing to do with this anymore. He also said he heard from more than 5 people that Mike Kafka also wanted out. And there's still no guarantee that he's going to come back as the offensive coordinator for the Giants next season here. So, yeah, that's just a little crazy to me. I mean, I would have thought with Wink being gone, with Thomas McGaughey being gone as well, that there's no way the Giants would want to start off with all 3 new offensive coordinators there. And, of course, the comparison is already being made, if that is what happens, to back in 2007 when Tom Coughlin had to start off his season with all new coordinators. And, of course, also a changed attitude. He had to change the way he was in order to calm down, connect with the players better, and, you know, be somebody who they actually wanted to follow, wanted to be their leader at that point there. And that's what's going on with Brian Daboll now. You got a guy who, by all accounts, the players like, but none of the coaches do. And, you know, that's going to be an issue for him in filling out the staff this offseason. It's going to be an issue for him overall. And there's definitely ramifications there for that. Give us 1 second here. So we do have Rob here now. There he is. We can try this again now. Joined as always by...
I'm me, Rob. Let's talk about the divisional weekend.
It's so weird talking to, like, doing that mid-show like that.
I know, it felt a little weird.
It felt a little weird. It felt a little foreign. Womp. All right, guys. So yeah, like I said, you got McGaughey wanted out. You got Kafka still wants out, according to people that Jordan Raanan was talking to. And then Raanan also says that it isn't just the coordinators who had issues with Daboll. This is a quote that Jordan Raanan gave on the program. I know of at least a handful of people on the coaching staff who weren't happy or completely dislike Brian Daboll this year. That's just not healthy. And I agree with him. That's an issue, guys.
Yes.
That's an issue. And listen, we're pro Daboll. I don't think this story changes any of that with us on our end here. I mean, regardless of the fact he's the Giants coach, we'll support him right off the bat for that reason alone. But beyond that, he's a guy that's, let's be honest, love him or hate him, he's had some success here. He got to the playoffs last year. The team never gave up on him this year with all the injuries, all the losses, all the issues on offense. There's a lot worse guys we can have coaching this team than him.
So, and that being said, too, like, we're not getting the full story of what's going on. Because sometimes you could get a boss that could seem like the biggest turd in the room, but he also just wants to push you to success. And sometimes that comes across the wrong way. And sometimes people like that person being strict and tough on them, and some people don't.
Yeah. And I think that's why the Coughlin analogy, I think, is what a lot of people are referencing now. Because, again, if we do lose Kafka there this offseason and have to go all new coordinators, it's the same scenario as 07. Same exact scenario. But yet, instead of having it be an issue with the players, it's an issue with the coaches. As Rob has my face now. He's a cartoon version of me.
This is one of the weirdest days of my life.
Oh, my gosh. It's like you don't even sound like me. But
that would be weird if I did.
I think he does need to change. I mean, I'm not going to say he needs to fully change who he is. I'm not going to say anything. But, one of the things you learn if you're in any kind of management, I don't care if you're running a Dollar Tree or you're running the New York Giants, like any kind of management you possibly could have at that point. Not to say the Dollar Tree is the lowest class. I just realized I said that kind of came off bad. Listen, whatever you're managing, okay, a Fortune 500 company, I don't know. I'm out of things here. I just feel like a jerk for saying that now. But whatever at that point. Someone's like at home, like, I work at the Dollar Tree. Hold on.
Yeah. I love my boss.
But I look at it from the perspective of, like, you have to learn as a leader, as a boss, how to treat people with the way that they're going to respond. And I don't mean that as like you have to sugarcoat every single player. You have to change who you are with every single player. But you have to realize, like, talk about the love languages and relationships here. We're going to get all deep and philosophical here.
Sassy, like.
It's almost like that. Like, I can tell you that me as an individual, if I get a boss that just nags on me, I'm going to shut down. I'm not going to listen to a damn thing you say. If you're disrespectful to me once, I'm done. That's just how I am. That's how my brain is wired. So if I was to be around someone like Daboll, that might be an issue. But now, if
you
Daboll
don't know that. That's also what some people are saying.
I said might. My issue is I trust Jordan Raanan. There is no agenda, as I said at the beginning. Again, he works for ESPN. He has no need to sugarcoat things to help the Giants because they're never going to kick ESPN out of the building. And he has no reason to hate the Giants because, again, he's at ESPN. He's at the largest publication there is in all of sports. He doesn't have the clickbait like Pat Leonard.
Touche.
So I trust him. But what I'm saying is, like, if someone like Daboll was to work with someone like me, it probably wouldn't go well. But at the same point, if somebody like Daboll, and this happened, and I've had this happen with bosses before, acted the way that it's at least rumored that Daboll's been acting, and I went up to them after and said, listen, I want to have a talk about this. And I've done this with bosses. I want to have a talk about this. This wasn't good the way this went down. And I don't mean just for me, but also for you. And I want to have it where you and I can work together in a better fashion. If you construct things a little differently, I think you and I will get along better as a working relationship, which will help everybody. And you can have those aren't easy conversations. Don't get me wrong; those are not easy conversations whatsoever.
No, but there's a lot of respect that comes out of a conversation like that.
Exactly. And at the same point, you did hear Daboll go into the defensive meetings and point blank ask if anybody has an issue with him. That's the time to have that conversation. That's the time.
Yeah.
And you can have it behind closed doors.
And
you
it's
can have it in
also
the group, whatever you want.
See, I don't like that report too, because like if he comes in there and you're like, hey, it's like, does anyone have a problem with me the way I'm coaching? Like that's one thing where you kind of just open up to everyone, or it's like, who has a problem with the way I coach? Who's going to open up to that?
There's the acting, by the way, guys. You might have seen The Sopranos, the legendary New Jersey series right there. There he is, Rob, the Soprano. And it's not just talking about his singing. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't know what went down. You don't know what went on. Jordan, let's be very frank, doesn't know 100% what went on either. I mean,
as I'm saying, he's also reporting from what he heard. So like, was he inside? But
he's heard that from several coaches.
Okay, but like at the same time, and yes, Kafka is one. All right, but like also we know him and Wink didn't get along. Well, let's just say Daboll and Wink didn't get along because I just Kafka. Proper English. Hey. Anyway. Hey. But like we were just saying, like we don't know the outskirts. Some people are like, oh, he could have rubbed this the wrong way. But like if he's also growing, when was that report taken?
Oh, and that's part of it.
Was this today?
Well, here's one thing I can tell you that he did say that I thought very striking in the whole disagreement here situation with Daboll and the coaches. Raanan said one assistant coach who didn't come with Daboll from Buffalo and did not have prior ties to Wink Martindale said the head coach repetitively makes things personal.
I mean, there also could be a reason why they take close, people from Buffalo.
Oh, you always want your people. Let's be very frank.
But you also know it works. Like they know.
It's just that you want some people in your corner.
Yes.
And when you're in a room, it's one thing. But when you're not in a room, if you have somebody that's in your corner saying, hey, listen, guys, I know he comes off kind of like a dick, but he's not. Trust me. He's got to get to know him or whatever. It's a different thing than him saying it. So
yes,
it's not a bad thing in that regard. But here's somebody, again, no ties to Daboll, no ties to Wink. And obviously clearly has an issue with him. And this report from Raanan was just on his podcast again on Friday.
I mean, but then again, who was that coach?
No, we don't know.
And you don't know their personality. Some people take things harsher than other people.
I just
like if you were to turn around and be like, Rob, you're acting like a jerk right now, I would be like, I should probably not be such a jerk. Some people take that as you're a mean person.
Yes, but what I'm saying, if it walks like a duck, sounds like a duck. Yeah, like here's the problem: is you got so many people saying it that it's got to be at least somewhat true. I'm not saying to what extent, but at least it has to be somewhat true. I mean, so what I'm getting at is Daboll needs to change how he acts with the staff this year. Because
no, you're right.
If he has the same issue next year and the same report comes out next year and he loses more coaches, I'm telling you right now, he's gone. Point blank.
I was just being devil's advocate on both sides.
Oh, I hear you. I know. I'm fine with that. I want devil's advocate.
But
it's a very good movie.
But if you could look at Daboll on the sidelines and just see how he is during the game. But like sometimes, like I look at it, I'm like, Sometimes I look at it, I'm like, maybe he is the turd. But sometimes I'm like, that guy cares and he wants us to succeed. And like
100%.
And like you could kind of like, all right, maybe he wasn't such a hard turd.
And it's also him getting fires up some other people. Again, they have that reaction. Yeah. Everybody's going to react differently to different scenarios. I know some people that if you're not a complete jerk to them, they won't respond.
Yeah. Well, yeah, some people, and that's when it comes to leadership too. Like, I mean, you've been in management a long time. I've been in like over a decade as well. And some people, you need to walk on eggshells. Some people, need to call them a jabroni. And then, and some people you need to like make them feel like you guys are buddies.
Yeah.
And there's few and far between and all that.
Like I said, to me, it's just I'm hoping he takes this season and everything that's happened with the coaches as a lesson. And if he does, in another year or two, we're not even talking about this story ever again. But until the Giants go on a winning streak, this is going to be a topic of conversation. And trust me, the worst thing forever for it to happen is at the end of the season. Because you know what, guys? There ain't shit to talk about right now.
Exactly. So, Brian Daboll, if you're listening, Emotional Intelligence 2.0, it's a great book about emotional, it's about your EQ, about how to teach your staff and be a better manager as you're doing it. So maybe pick it up.
How to win friends and influence people.
Yeah, I think it's $16.99 at Barnes & Noble, buddy.
I'm just, And like I said, it's funny because we say this. I've said there's nothing to talk about. Yeah, we've been on the show for an hour and a half each episode, whatever. But another bit of news that I thought was interesting. He went out of his way, Jordan did, to say that he doesn't think Drew Wilkins is the source of the Pat Leonard information. So that was interesting. He didn't have to bring it up. There was no Q&A where it was brought up and asked to him, He just himself said point blank, I don't think it was Drew Wilkins. I thought that was interesting. Because if it's not Drew, it makes you think it's Wink. But if it's not Wink, then who was it? Was it Kafka?
That would be a little saucy.
He just brought up the Wink stuff so it didn't really seem like him complaining about getting his play calling taken away. I don't know. Who knows? I'm not accusing him. I'm just trying to throw out who would it be? Who would have the information? All right. One last thing he did say the program I thought was kind of interesting. New offensive line coach Carmen Bricillo was talked about as well. This is a quote from him. He said he wasn't a favorite of players in Las Vegas, according to multiple sources. So we perhaps are having another hothead. Now, what happens when you add two hotheads together?
Oh, there's a volcano about to erupt.
That's what happens with Wink and Daboll. That's what happens. So that's going to be an interesting one to watch this season. We'll have to keep an eye out there. All right. Let's get into Giants news here. We get some Giants news here. So John Michael Schmitz, not to be confused with John Michael Hemmerschlemmer Smith. He has made the 2023 NFL All-Rookie team, which just tells you one of two things. One, his rookie year wasn't completely horrible. And two, there wasn't a lot of centers.
Column A, column B.
Let's just be honest here. It's not like there was any really good centers. You're like, oh, this is the guy. Like, This was not a good year for centers, really. I mean, you had him and Joe Tipman, who really played guard, but is a center, and that's about it.
I would say, especially when he's the first center of the drafts.
He was the second.
Oh, you're right.
Tipman was first. Tipman was first.
You're right.
In entertainment news, the Giants have a new rapper in the building. Darren Waller is releasing a rap album, apparently. I should say, I was about to say he did, but I don't think he actually released it yet.
I tore my ACL. My hamstrings are fine.
I did hear a snippet of it on X, Twitter, whatever the hell you want to call it. I got to be honest, guys, and I don't pretend to be the biggest, knowledgeable person on hip hop. I mean, I grew up with all the old school stuff, obviously, the Notorious B.I.G.'s, Snoop and Dre and all that kind of stuff, and Eminem and all that. But I don't like a lot of the new auto tune kind of hip hop kind of stuff there. Yeah, there was a ton of auto tune, in my opinion. Again, just as somebody who has sung in the past and been classically trained and been part of bands before in the past, to me, there's a ton of auto tune, and even with that, I wasn't too entertained by it. So, but I will say this: a lot of people are knocking him, and they're comparing this to Tony. This isn't necessarily a Tony thing. This is just a side project, guys. People have side projects all the time. Some of them buy racing teams. Some of them buy soccer teams. Some of them have charities they put a lot of money into. Some of them is traveling. For him,
some of their girlfriends become best friends with Ryan Reynolds, and they do gin commercials together.
But you know what? In the end, here's a man who's overcome a lot. Anybody who's ever struggled with addiction, he's overcome a lot in his life. And if that's something that he enjoys, makes him feel better. Again, even if it's not my cup of tea, that's fine. I'm sure it's somebody's cup of tea. And I hope they enjoy it, and I hope he continues enjoying doing it. Because we all need to do hobbies outside of work, outside of life. Things that just calm us down and center us, so to speak. As Rob and I do with this every night. But I mean, again, this isn't Tony. This is the guy who played this year. Let's be honest. He came back from injury this year. Did he have to?
No, especially how bad we were.
Hell's no, he didn't have to. He did come back, though. He produced. I mean, he may not have been like what you wanted him to do. Don't get me wrong. But he had about 600 yards this year, which is more than Darius Toney's had his whole career, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did the math on that already.
Yeah, like by a lot, if I remember, actually.
I think Tony was like 400 and change.
I don't think he's that even yet, dude. I think he's hit I don't even think he's hit 300 yet. Let's see here. Oh no, he's hit 760 yards.
Wait, he's got some playoff stuff going on too.
No, you know what it was? I forgot he had that big game against the Cowboys. So Darren Waller, though, this year had 552. So he almost had more than him for his entire career this one season. So again, guys,
and how many games?
Not everybody who raps is Tony. And I do think he'll continue to take this serious. I don't think he's that guy that doesn't take it serious. Again,
he's not the first. I mean, Tony wasn't the first football player that did some rapping. Let's be real.
Like I said, it gets added. I think people just love to connect dots that don't always make sense. And listen, I love to connect dots when they make sense.
This
is not a dot.
They didn't even play together.
No. Yeah. All right, guys. So we have birthday news, guys. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. We got the happy. So yeah, it's happy birthday today to Andrew Thomas, the greatest left tackle to play for the Giants in the last how many decades at this point. Maybe the best left tackle. Second best tackle ever, I think, potentially, I could say. I'd have to go through the list. We have to revisit our greatest offensive lineman episodes we did.
That was about a year ago.
Yeah, obviously.
Maybe that was 2 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, there's some, obviously, that are going to go ahead of him. I can't remember where we even had him on the list, but he was already pretty damn high up on the list.
He was definitely in the center.
I mean, Roosevelt Brown is still going to be number one, obviously, in the Giants' history right now. Rosie was a guy that still considered one of the best tackles ever played the game in general. But yeah, I mean, here's Andrew Thomas now at the age of 25, and he's already in that discussion. Like if we had a Mount Rushmore of greatest left tackles, he might be on there already. So
he might be taking Teddy's spot.
Teddy's spot. I don't think Teddy was one. I don't think he was. All right. On to, we also have some coaching news and all that kind of fun stuff to give here. So Giants interviewed Jets assistant special teams coordinator Michael Gabriel. He's been with the Jets since 2021. Prior to the Jets, he worked with Washington State, Hawaii, and Tarleton State. Oh, yes, the great college of Tarleton State.
And Hawaii.
Hawaii. That's how they say it there, actually. Hawaii. I think there's a V in it.
I was about to say, did they not know there's a W, not a V?
Well, I think they know because they're the ones who lived there before us. I'm talking the native Hawaiian culture. And then we also mentioned last week that Larry Izzo was mentioned by Jordan Raanan, who we talked about earlier, as a potential candidate for the special team coordinator position. Well, guess what? He interviewed. So I guess Jordan knows what he's talking about.
I was about to say.
Maybe we should listen to what he said on the other stuff too. Assistant GM Brandon Brown had a second GM interview with the Panthers for their GM position. Sounds exciting for him until tonight, when the Panthers tonight announced that that Dan Morgan, who was their assistant GM, is going to be promoted to GM. If the name sounds familiar, congratulations, you're probably at least in your 30s. And you remember when he was a player, he was a linebacker for the Panthers. I believe he was like the 12th overall pick in the draft, even back in like 2007. Like this guy he was a good player. Didn't have a very long career, but was a very good player for the time he did play. All right, we got more NFL news. Antonio Pierce, AP, our old linebacker from the Eli Manning Super Bowl days, has officially been hired by the Las Vegas Raiders to be their head coach.
Leader of men.
He's bringing some Giants blood with him. Tom Coughlin has been consulting to help him fill out his staff. And it's been reported he's actually been consulting with Pierce since he took the interim head coach spot there last season. So kudos to Tom Coughlin.
Yeah.
You know, that's you want to talk about leaders of men? That's a leaders of men move.
Yes.
100%. That's a leaders of men move, saying, you know what? You listened to me 20 years ago. I'm going to help you out now. That's legit. That's a good move.
Yeah. That made me feel
also,
warm and fuzzy inside.
I know. Marvin Lewis also has been tapped to be the defensive coordinator / assistant head coach. That's a good move. That's a guy who Marvin Lewis. You know what? Some people may knock me for this. I don't give a damn. Marvin Lewis is a guy who should have had a second spot somewhere as a head coach. I'm sorry. You consistently made the Cincinnati Bengals a playoff team. This is pre-Joe Burrow, guys. So if you're not over the age of 20, you don't know yet.
Yeah.
They were a crappy team for decades and decades and decades until they were taken over by Marvin Lewis.
I was about to say Andy Dalton.
Go back. But I'm saying go back to the days of Jeff Blake with them at that point, Achilles Smith. Like, how many bad players did they have from basically ever since Boomer Esiason left the building? We're talking late 80s. That's the last time they were good. They literally went on a 20-year stretch of just not being good, guys.
Maybe longer.
Yeah. So listen, the guy deserved a shot, and I'm hoping. Though I have no clue his age is, but I'm hoping maybe this is the move that catapults him into the next spot there. I'd imagine he's got to be up there. He was a head coach for quite a while and was a defensive coordinator for the Ravens for a good amount before that. Yeah, he's 65. So, maybe next year he gets some time. Yeah, it gets one more spot maybe at that point there. But yeah, I mean, head coach for 16 years, guys. 16 years with the Bengals. That's impressive to hold it down that long. That really is. If you're not impressed, you don't know what you're doing. Point blank. All right. Let's get other head coaching news here. The Chiefs are preparing for the possibility of Andy Reid retiring at the end of the year, per Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk.
I heard that rumor going around this year, but
rumor has it.
It's not
no word yet if he plans on, pursuing a career as the head walrus at SeaWorld. He looks like a walrus. I'm sorry, he always has.
Yeah, I was going to say he always has.
Mustache.
It also depends on what happens in this playoff scenario. Because I have to imagine if they go in and he wins another ring with the Chiefs this year, he's going to ride off into the sunset. There's no temptation to come back. If you're thinking about it now and then you go out on the high note, go out.
See, if I'm him, I'm going the Belichick. I'm going the Belichick style. I'm going to keep on going until I can't go at that point. And what I mean by that is championships, though. Once the championship timeline is over, I'm out. He's right because he's coached for so long. And he has the ability. You could honestly sit there and say he's one of the top 5 coaches of all time, potentially right now.
Oh, 100%.
Hate to say that, guys.
It's hard to follow that guy.
He's in my head. But love him or hate him, guys. Got the Eagles going for a long, long time. Got him to a Super Bowl. Goes to the Chiefs. Gets multiple Super Bowl rings now. I mean,
he made McNabb look like a really good player and somewhat intelligent until he realized he couldn't end the game in a tie.
Yeah. He made Vic look better than Vic's ever looked.
Oh, 100% he did.
So that's what I'm saying. It's I hate to say it, but that's what he is. I mean, it'd be interesting if he lost Andy Reid, Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, and Pete Carroll all in the same offseason.
It's a lot of good coaches.
That's a lot of good coaches.
Off into the sunset.
It's a lot of great players those guys have shaped up and gotten going in their football career. So I gotta say it's weird. I'm gonna say hopefully not. As much as I still see him as Eagle, I hope not. I like seeing greatness. He is greatness.
Yeah.
You know,
it's easier for me now to see him because there's so many times that he's made us, the goofballs over here, upset.
Yes.
But he's one of the best coaches in, like you said, top 5 NFL history.
Possibly. Like I said, I want to look at the full list before I say it for sure, but I'm trying to think it. It's not crazy. It's not crazy to state that with the number of wins and all he has. Let's see here. Reports. Also, we got more reports here. So, former Giants special team coordinator Thomas McGaughey has interviewed with the Patriots for their special team coordinator position. So, good move for him at that point there. Go do what he can elsewhere. Again, he was a good special team coordinator for years, guys. I don't think people realized how much he was liked in the building and liked by the players. You know, remember when we had Britton Golden on last year? That man could not say enough nice things about T-Mac at that point. So, you know, again, hope him the best going forward there. Reports. This is the best report here. Reports are that the Eagles are likely to retain head coach Nick Sirianni, which I love personally as a Giant fan because I don't think he's a good coach, but that's just me.
Yeah. That's something we said right away in the offseason when his offensive and his defensive coordinator from the Super Bowl went away.
Yep.
And it's funny because all the Eagle fans were like, oh my God, they needed to get rid of that defensive coordinator who got you to the goddamn Super Bowl. Excuse my language there, but come on.
Clutch my pearls.
Yeah. Talk about firing the guy that got you to the Super Bowl.
I know. It's ridiculous. Now, the Eagles, though, have fired defensive coordinator Sean Desai. Now, keep in mind, he was also interviewing for the Giants defensive coordinator position last time it opened up before Wink took the job. So keep an eye out because that'd be interesting now that he's available if he does go there. You know, I got to be honest and say I don't want anybody associated with the Eagles just because of the downfall of what they had this season. But prior to this year, you would have said he's got a great resume and he's not a bad guy to look at for a defensive coordinator position. So, you know, we'll have to see what the Giants think. You know, who knows who was to blame on overall? Was it him? Was it Sirianni? Was it both? Was it Matt Patricia? Who knows?
Matt Patricia, 100%. That man's been getting other coaches fired for years.
Yeah. Now, former Commanders and Panthers head coach Ron Rivera is interviewing for the Eagles DC spot, which I thought was interesting. Listen, if that's an option, guys, we got to get this man in the building. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Ron Rivera? Yeah, get him in the damn building. He knows nothing on offense, but that man knows defense. That man knows defense.
You definitely don't want him going to the Eagles, especially he's got all that the Commanders knowledge.
Yep. Now, guess who else is also interviewing for the Eagles defensive coordinator position? Wink Martindale. And no, not the game show host. Wink Martindale is interviewing. So the thing that Giants fans, some of them at least, were really worried about might come true. We'll see. One place I can tell you he's not going to go is Jacksonville. The Jacksonville Jaguars hired former Dolphins defensive coordinator Ryan Nielsen. Wink was a candidate to interview there, but they decided to pass, say sorry, not sorry. It's not you, it's me, and decided to go ahead and move on and go with a different guy. Good choice, Jaguars. Good choice. Might be one of the best choices you've made in a long time. Just saying. 2 places he's been a headache at. That's all. Yeah. Matt Patricia. We talked about him a minute ago. Matt Patricia is no longer under any contract with the team. He is rumored to be a big candidate this offseason for defensive coordinator somewhere. I don't know.
Why?
Considering Daboll and Patricia's history in New England, though, you have to wonder if he comes in for an interview. I don't want him. I don't want him. Let me be very clear on this. I want nothing to do with Matt Patricia. But saying it's a possibility. The Bears hired an offensive coordinator. Usually offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator positions, I don't go too much into this stuff here unless it somehow involves the Giants like the Jags because they were interviewing Wink. This one involves the Giants, guys. one of the people that the Bears brought in was offensive coordinator was Cliff Kingsbury, who, of course, you guys know is the former Cardinals head coach. Well, guess what he did last year? Last year, he was the quarterback coach at USC with Caleb Williams. So, yeah, it made you wonder when that happened if that's the way they were going to go. Well, they didn't go that route. They went ahead and hired Shane Waldrum, who's the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks there for the last few seasons under Pete Carroll. Now, I don't know how much he had to do with it, but resurrected the career of Geno Smith.
I was literally about to say that. It's like if you could make a subpar, decent-looking backup quarterback, look like a top 10 starter in the NFL the past few years, yeah, you shoot that load, especially if you're going to take the shot with Justin Fields.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Dave Canales was the quarterback coach last season, not 23, but 22 with the Seahawks. He went on to be the offensive coordinator for the Bucs this season. Look what he did. So, yeah, not
Baker's
a bad
looked
move.
The best he's done all year, this whole season, this whole career.
Yes. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad move on their part. What's interesting is you have a coach who resurrected a career going there. Again, guys, I'm all for connecting the dots when the dots make sense to correct. Like if you're just moving things around, it doesn't form a picture, then you're just doing stupid BS. When you're going like this and go, yep, that's a star.
It's a snowflake.
They're all made different. A picture. We made a picture. I'm not saying that that's what's going on. I'm just saying it's a sensible, logical, potential conclusion. And it is. So, yeah, keep an eye out there. As a Giant fan, I love that. I want a lot of people to pass on quarterbacks. Here's like what I know Giants fans are a little crazy on. Now, I have not heard any rumors on the Giants in this yet. I'm going to say this right now. I have not heard any rumors on the Giants on this yet. But it is being reported.
A lot of rumors right now.
It is being reported that the Broncos are expected to trade either Jerry Jeudy or Courtland Sutton this offseason for monetary reasons. They're way over the cap, and they're going to cut Russell Wilson, which is going to put them even more over the cap there. So, yeah, they got to make some moves here. And I don't mean moves like Jagger. Like they're going to completely tear this thing down and rebuild. They're going to have to. Jerry Jeudy last year, 54 catches, 758 yards, 2 touchdowns. Courtland Sutton, 59 yards, 772 yards, and 10 touchdowns. Now, I'll say this. If I have to pick between the two, you're picking basically either the youth and the potential or the guy who's shown you more. Courtland Sutton has shown more than Jerry Jeudy so far. Jerry Judy's 24 years old, though, and has the first-round pedigree, whereas Courtland Sutton has been in the league now for a few years. I think he's 28. So you're talking a 4-year difference, which doesn't sound like a ton, because it's not like Courtland Sutton's like old or anything. But 4 years when you're talking football is still,
that's like 4 dog years.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, Courtland Sutton was a second-round pick, so it's not like he was, nothing at that point, So, yeah, we will have to see what goes on there. The big news tonight, though, it just came out like an hour ago. Actually, an hour and 45 minutes ago, so we've been talking for a while.
Juicy now.
Yeah. Tom Pelissero of the NFL reported that the Titans plan on hiring Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan of Callahan Autos and Brake Parts. No, I'm kidding. Different one, different Callahans. But he is the son of Bill Callahan, the legendary offensive line coach that just produces gold wherever he goes. Now, interesting, they got Will Levis. I don't know what they think of Will Levis yet. They got Will Levis. They bring in a guy who's known for working with quarterbacks. This guy has worked with Peyton Manning, Matt Stafford, Derek Carr, and Joe Burrow. That's a pretty decent combo there at that point.
Yeah, that's especially
he's been there with these guys.
Like you got to put the asterisk next to Derek Carr, but he had the better years with Callahan.
Yeah.
So
you can even make the case for Jake Browning. Jake Browning did not look bad at all this year, guys. Once Burrow went down,
and like you get Browning just to be a guy to be backup for just in case, because you need a backup quarterback in this league.
I'm telling you right now, if you're a team that needs a quarterback and you're not in the position to go ahead and get a top flight quarterback in this draft, and you have the position to trade for a guy like Jake Browning to put in the mix, not the worst move, guys. He looks good.
I was about to say bring Callahan in there. I was about to say, can he fix the Atlanta?
Well, he's going. Like I said, he's going to Tennessee now.
Yeah.
So Will Levis. We'll see if we can get him.
I was making a joke about how bad Brennan was.
There's no fixing that.
Yeah.
Bob Vila couldn't fix that.
Hmm.
And I'm aging myself with a Bob Vila joke. It's okay. Here's the latest and craziest news. Here's in the category of I bet you forgot this guy was still available. The Lions signed someone today. They signed veteran Zach Ertz to their practice squad.
Who was released by Arizona, correct?
Yes, but that was like a couple months ago. It felt like he was released. Like he was released the weeks to go in the season at that point. You know, I mean, like, yeah. Let's see here.
6 weeks ago,
November 30th, guys.
Oh, wait.
So almost 2 months ago. That's what I'm saying. I knew it was a while ago.
Yeah, I thought his name was Stavin.
So yeah, he is the newest Lion, and it's almost like I feel like it's gonna be tainted now if he does get a ring, because you waited till like the very last. There's only 4 teams left. I got a 25% chance.
I mean, we'll talk about it a little bit too. Didn't someone get banged up in the offensive line for the Lions this past weekend?
Well, no, their Sam Laporte has been injured.
Yeah, but I thought there was also an injury on the offensive line too. So you want to take someone like Zach Ertz who can block as well.
That's kind of like, yeah.
I hear you. But if you're in a position like the Lions, I hear you from the Zach Ertz point of view and the fans of him and maybe his past teams. Like, it's a meh move. But if you're the Lions and you're Detroit and you have not been to a Super Bowl, this is the farthest that you've seen your whole life. Your team advance. You pick up every available player.
I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying if he wins a ring, it's not. It's like he should get like a sterling silver instead of a gold one.
Yeah, okay.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. All right, guys, we're gonna pay the bills real quick. We're gonna go ahead and come back and read the comments here we have, and then we're gonna go ahead and give you guys the update on all the games this past weekend here, and then we'll get on out of here. But we got a little bit more to go, so don't go anywhere.
Oh yeah.
Enjoying the show? Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. Buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.
Oh yeah, let's get to those comments here. Connor said, phone died. What did I miss? We just gave you the best gambling tip in your entire life, Connor, and you missed it.
Oh, damn.
You know we have a policy of not repeating things.
Zip it.
Beef says, not only Coughlin, but Parcells was the same way. He didn't give a shit if you liked them or not. People are too soft today. They're too little candy. My boss will be on my butt all the time, even when I did good. Again, I think it's just different strokes for different folks. And I think there's plenty of people that you can get the most out of by changing the way you are based on them. Again, I do it all the time, my own job, not to bring my work stuff into here because I try to keep my personal, separate from the goofball stuff here. But I mean, that's just life. You have to be different based on who you're talking about. Now, Parcells is one of those guys that you had to he was like an ogre, and you had to peel back the onions there, the layers of onion there, so to speak, to get to the real him. I don't think Daboll is like that because I think Daboll gets along with the players. I think part of it is in his eyes is he feels like if he has the players, they'll play hard for him. The coaches get, a career, therefore they don't need to. It's kind of like I need the players a lot more than I need the coaches. I can replace them. I can't replace this all-pro nose tackle. I can't replace this, franchise running back. I can't replace this tackling machine linebacker.
I mean, I think there's a little bit more to that. I think that's a very easy read to go into it, and you're not wrong for saying that. But at the same time,
I just wonder.
Daboll, he's
coaches are
a great
more
offensive coach, so he needs to bring. If he wants to win rings and be a great head coach, he needs talent and a defensive coordinator to come in and stay there and not be pissed all the time. But he also needs someone that sits there and listens to him and not makes their own plays in the middle of the game and just totally doesn't listen to what you're calling.
Yeah. Let's see here. So, we have Nimor Sekan. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Let me know if I'm not. Says, do you guys, Matt Kafka goes to Seahawks, the Titans hired Bill Callahan. Where do you think Matt Kafka goes? I think until all the head coaching positions are filled, for the most part, you're going to hear a little bit of trickling, and that's it on the coordinators. Now, once the head coaching jobs get filled, keep in mind this is the first domino to drop here tonight with Callahan going to the Titans now. You still have the Falcons to figure out. You still got the Panthers to figure out. You still got the Chargers to figure out. There's still a lot of teams to figure out here. And so all those teams, until all those teams are figured out.
Where does Harbaugh go?
If you're a big coordinator who wants to get a head coaching job, you're not going to sign on to be an OC or a DC thinking you might get hired to be a HC within the next couple weeks. So you'll have to keep an eye on watching on things like that. Same as, let's say, for example, Brian Callahan now gone. Do you think the Bengals job is a coveted job in the NFL?
Oh, 100%.
Now, don't get me wrong. All accounts I'm hearing, and not that I think we had necessarily any Bengal fans, but you never know. I'm hearing the quarterback coach probably just moved up. But I'm just saying, if you were somebody who was in the offensive coordinator, position or is looking to be an offensive coordinator, that's a job I'd want.
100%. But at the same time, if you're looking to get a head coaching job,
you're going to wait.
You're going to have to wait because you got a couple of big names out there. There's big rumors to come into the NFL. There's a lot of head coaching jobs out there that need to get filled, and no one's going to bite an offensive coordinator that's only been an OC for 2 years when they have the potential again, Bill Belichick or Hardball.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only way you're going to see
it's not disrespecting Kafka.
I think the only way we see Kafka gone is if the Giants let him go. I don't think anybody's going to hire him as a head coach. I really don't. No. So I think if he goes anywhere, it's because the Giants say, you know what, this just isn't working. You and Daboll just don't get along, and we're gonna move on. Hope the best for you later on. Nothing wrong with that if the way it goes that way. All right, let's get into the games here. We got some games. We got some interesting games here this week, guys. We're going to give you guys all the picks results from what Rob and I did on Wednesday. I'm going to say on Thursday. Wrong way.
I was about to say we did
Thursday. So if you want to hear how we did, either re-listen or re-watch the episode when we gave you the preview on Thursday last week, or tune in Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Shameless plug. And we'll be going over the picks for the two conference championship games and, giving you guys a review there. First up, we have the Texans at the Ravens, guys. This is the matchup we said on Thursday. If the Ravens are legit, they're going to show it this week. I think it's safe to say they showed it.
For
Ravens,
2 quarters.
That's all you need to worry about.
That's all they needed, though.
Ravens 34, Texans 10. The teams were tied at 10 each at the half. In the second half, it was just all Ravens, though. Lamar Jackson, we talked about how bad he's played in the postseason. Not this week. Lamar Jackson was 16 to 22, 152 pounds. 150 yards. Not a ton of passing yards, but he didn't need them, obviously. 2 touchdowns, 100 yards rushing as well, and 11 carries, and 2 touchdowns, so 4 touchdowns overall. So now you got to wonder, does this continue? Is this the playoff? Is this the year his playoff reputation just changes?
Yeah, it's hard to say because, I mean, we talked about this game beforehand, and he's got some tough competition coming up in the championship round. And we'll talk about that later, shameless plug, because we got to finish up the other game.
That's Tuesday.
I was also talking about this. You're going to find out the winner.
Oh, yeah.
Later. But Lamar, I want to say real fast, like, the Ravens did not come out looking as strong as they were. Were they a little rusty from the bye week and, send in some of their star players? Maybe, but they readjusted and did what any team that's going to win a football game does in halftime. Readjusted everything they had to do, and Lamar, second half, 2 quarters, lights out.
Yeah.
And that secondary on that team was just...
And I think if he wins one more, that's enough to push people off this whole he sucks in the playoffs talk. I really do. I think one win is not enough. It's only because he didn't throw for like 300 yards. He threw for 152. I think he needs that one more game to smash that. So we'll talk on Thursday and let you guys know what we think if that's going to be that week or not.
Oh, yeah.
All right, next up, Rob.
I was going to say up next was the game that I was excited for. I had a little bit of saucy opinion on it, although I didn't lean towards it when we put our picks in, which I'm not going to repeat, but I did.
And I can lean with it.
Get close.
You're not going to rock with it.
I'm not going to rock with it because you also had the same picks. So you had the Packers going into the Niners. The Niners were 9.5 favorites in this game, and the over-under was 50.5.
You had the same picks as you. I just had to double check. I got the trifecta on that one. Spoiler alert.
Oh, I was talking about the spread and the win.
Yeah, I got it all.
Oh, you were fantastic last week with the over-unders. You've been great with the over-unders all year.
Fantastico.
So, they made 2,000.
It's the finest Corinthian leather. The finest Corinthian leather. Con.
But what a back and forth game. The Niners wound up pulling this out, just squeaked it out, 24 to the Packers 21. And before I start recapping this game, I have to say Julian Love and that Packers team are going to be great for a long time if they can keep Jordan Love. I said Julian. Julian's over there too. So
no, he's not. He's in Seattle.
Oh, yeah, right. Wrong Love. Listen, I have a lot of love for this Love over here. Young guy sat behind some good talent and is really, really come into this season, played some really good football.
Is that Jordan Love or Julian Love?
Both.
Which Love? Love is
so
love.
Much love. But this game was close throughout. Love played great football for 55 minutes, and Purdy, he kind of played great football for about 5 minutes in this game.
But he does, though.
So, yeah, sometimes he's dominant, sometimes
Purdy's
he's not.
One of those players that you look at and go, how the hell are they winning with this guy? But they just do. And that's all that matters.
Yeah, he's a good leader as a quarterback.
I'm just saying, it's like the internet. I don't even know how it works. It just works.
Yeah. But yeah, Green Bay was helped by great special teams play, including a blocked field goal and a great kickoff return to start the second half. But they also missed a long field goal. So you got a lot of really upset Green Bay fans talk about Mason Crosby should have stayed, but the guy's old as can be. He can't stay in Green Bay.
You can have him, guys. We're done with him.
Yeah.
Bar him for a few weeks for good.
But that was their second to last possession. CMC ran for a touchdown with 1 minute and 7 seconds left. The Niners take the lead. Jordan Love was intercepted and a terrible throw. He tried to play hero ball.
I can be your hero, baby.
Interception.
You can't take this game away.
Oh, no. Well, Greenlaw took the game away. Dre Greenlaw took took it down to the final drive, and it was the second interception of the game. And this if you're a Packers fan, you have to be excited because no one thought the Packers were going to make it to the 7th seed, beat the Cowboys, and come in and play the Niners.
That's close. That's close. Yeah. I mean, I feel like Jordan Love also has a little bit of Brett Favre in him with that last throw.
A little bit, yeah. He's
Next thing he's going to be stealing money from the taxpayers of Mississippi. And
let's hope that allegedly.
I didn't say Brett Favre did. I just said next thing you know, Jordan Love will be doing it while wearing Levi's and copper tight, joint solution things.
Allegedly, we're not getting sued by Brett Favre.
Yeah. I don't know if he actually wore his Levi's. Anyway, next up we got the Sunday games here, and I guess I got the Tampa ones since I live in Tampa Bay. We got the Bucks at the Lions, and I gotta say, for all the shit I talked about the Bucks heading into this game, either they played better than I expected, or the Lions played worse, because this was a much closer game than I thought it would have been. I thought this would be a blowout. The game was 100% close throughout. It was 31-23 was the end, with the Lions winning. In the end, the difference was basically, if you look at the box score, even it's like identical the first 3 quarters, but the last quarter, that's what matters. Lions scored 2 touchdowns, and the Bucks just won. The Bucks also made some really questionable time management decisions. Like they even questioned, at the end, there's a few people that asked the question, like, what the hell are you guys doing into the game? Because they could have stopped the ball, gotten the ball back with like maybe 15, 20 seconds left and try to go over. And don't get me wrong.
Timeouts, right?
The chances that you get anything going in 15, 20 seconds to get a touchdown are very, very, very slim. But when there's a 1% chance, guys, you have to do it. There's a 0.01% chance. You have to do it.
You have to. Especially in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Playoffs.
Like, you're done. Yeah. You're done. You didn't take the one shot you had.
Yes.
And on top of that, they're down by 2 touchdowns. With 4 minutes and 37 seconds left, they score a touchdown. So now they're down by 8 because they haven't done anything extra point-wise yet. They go for 2. What? What the hell? You're down by 8 points. Take the goddamn touchdown.
Yeah. Made no sense.
A lot of they didn't make no sense in this game. And I can tell you this. Even after the performance they did, the Todd Bowles is still not a well-loved figure in Tampa Bay. Which is crazy because I get he made mistakes in that last game. He still brought a shit team into a position that nobody thought they'd be in.
No, because I was about to. I want to get your on the ground expertise over here because sitting,
I'm actually hovering. Back here.
Oh, you're hovering.
You can't see my legs.
But coming into this season, I was kind of on the Atlanta train. I was like, maybe the Saints. I was like, the Panthers. I just didn't even think about the Bucks. I was like, I discredited Baker Mayfield. I would have to assume, minus if Bill Belichick goes to Atlanta, the Buck fans have to be kind of excited for next year. You probably keep Baker at a cheap deal. You probably get him for a little bit more than 4.
No. They're already talking about having to franchise tag him.
I don't think that's going to happen.
There already is talks about it because they think there's that much value on him on the open market.
I think that'd be silly because you probably
just
get
takes
cheaper.
One team.
I think it. Yeah.
No, here's the thing. It just takes one team, and their options are, instead of signing him to a big contract like we did with Jones and regretting it, they can franchise tag him, and if he sucks next year, bye-bye. I agree with them. I really do.
I think if they come to the table, Baker Mayfield already came out saying this is the most comfortable he felt in his whole career playing for this team. And I think they could set a deal that's favorable to both team and player, and they don't have to do that because he's not going to get that money anywhere else.
That's not what I'm hearing.
I mean, if that's what they think, I guess that's what they have to do. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Like I said, that's the rumor. So again, I wouldn't give him all the money. I wouldn't even do. Here's the thing: he's going to be at least a $30 million quarterback. We were going to.
Yeah, he's in the ballpark.
So I would tag him. I'd still tag him right there, because it's a matter of repeat your process, and then we'll talk about next year.
I mean, I would probably say 25. So you could argue for 30. I don't think anyone else is going to tag him.
I think no one else can tag him.
Yeah, I'm saying that no one's going to pay him that money.
Give him money. Someone's going to give him money. I'm telling you.
So right, so he went from $4 million as a base salary this year with his incentives. They're saying pay him $40 million.
That's what they're talking about here, is that they might have to tag him. I mean, to me, it's crazy because you take him away from Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Let's see how he is.
That's what I'm saying. And then you had the running back over there was fantastic. He flew under the radar.
Yeah. And they still have no offensive line. They're like us. They have no offensive line. So
I was going to say it was fantastic, but he was definitely top 10 running back this season. Fantastic. Go.
Like the finest couldn't together.
All right. I guess we should move on to
the island.
I guess we should move on to the game of the week that ruined my 4-leg parlay.
Oh my God! Ruined you and me both for our picks for the week too, as well. We're doing
I
so
actually
well
put money in a 4-leg parlay. Where, if you guys listened to us talk last week, I took it and I lost.
Who doesn't love a parfait?
A parfait. Give me the parfait. Black raspberries.
Oh my gosh! I every time I hear a word that even sounds like parfait, I go right to Eddie Murphy with the donkey thing in Shrek.
Yeah.
Everyone knows a parfait.
But we had the Chiefs playing on the road in a playoff game, unheard of for Mahomes. Goes in to see their rival in the playoffs, the Bills. The Bills. The Bills were favored by 2.5 in this game, and it was like a respect thing.
Yeah,
and I gave them the 3, which
it was because they were at home.
Yeah, it was 100% why. The over/under was 45.5 in this game, and it was another one of those classic. Well, I should say classic because it is new modern era classic, if you will. Of
it is AMC over here. It's a new modern era classic.
Well, I mean, Chiefs and Bills still have a long history of playing each other.
Directed by the great Steven Spielberg.
The Chiefs and Bills have a long history of playing each other pretty tough. But for the past 5 years, it was another one of those back and forth games. And in the end, the difference came down. The Bills went for a 44-yard kick with a little time left to tie the game. And it went wide right. Mr. Bass missed, leaving the Chiefs to win at a 27-24 game.
Yeah. I mean, crazy.
The Chiefs defense showed up in this game. Bills defense looks, I don't want to say sus. That's not fair to them, but the Chiefs they had a very good ground game to win this.
I mean, the Bills just tried so hard and fought so hard, but at the end, it doesn't really matter. They tried too hard to lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't really matter.
Well, listen, if you're Taylor Bass, I think you're getting out of Buffalo till next season.
Dude,
because
he literally had to leave social media because of all the death threats he was getting.
I was about to say,
I'm sorry, but if you do that to that man over a freaking football game, I'm sorry, you're a classless jerk.
I was seeing some of that stuff, and I was just thinking about Ace Ventura and Ray Finkel.
Oh my God! Can you imagine back in the day if like people like Bill Buckner and all like had Scott Norwood? They had like social media back in those days. Oh my God, they'd never be the same again.
Lace us out, Josh.
Yeah. Oh my God, be insanity. All righty, guys. So. Wednesdays are our dedicated Giants episode here for the next couple of weeks while we have finishing up the playoffs here. So we'll still give you guys all the Giants news we did today during the rest of the days here. But Wednesday, we are doing our redo of the 2023 draft. Listen, hindsight is 20/20, and we have the abilities. We're doing it. We're redrafting it. But we're also going to go to the topic of, Joe Shane. It's been 2 years now. What do we think of his drafting? What's his success been like? What's his failures been like? And that might be a little bit of a tough talk, I think, for Giants fans. That very well may be. So we'll kind of go over which ones we think are hits, which we think are misses, which we think are kind of TBD, because there's a lot of TBD these classes still here. So we'll go over all that stuff with you guys. And, of course, like I said, any updates as far as coaching and that kind of stuff, we'll give you the updates on that as well. If anything does break, because we do have a lot of positions still open, if it's a positional coach, we probably won't come back on for it there. But if it's one of the coordinators that happens on one of our days off, we'll probably pop on at least to give you guys a heads up on what happened here. So keep an eye out. The best way to make sure you're not missing an episode is to hit the like, hit the subscribe. If you're on YouTube, hit that bell, ring that bell.
Ding, ding.
And then, of course, as always, we are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, X. I said Twitter and X. I said separate as the two different things.
Yes.
Instagram, and of course, Rob's favorite, my LinkedIn profile.
Who's LinkedIn?
Oh, yes. Listen, it's been fun on LinkedIn. I've been on LinkedIn a lot more. I got to talk to some of the VPs in the Giants, actually, which that's been kind of cool. So, yeah. Yeah, you don't get to listen. It's not every single day that you get to talk to people that literally are like in the Giants news on a regular basis, basically. And you're like, oh, here I am just talking to Kevin Abrams. That's what happens when you go on LinkedIn sometimes, I guess. We finally found a use for LinkedIn.
Score.
So, again, as always, we are available the next day also on every audio podcast platform, pretty much no demand. So if you prefer audio, go there. Appreciate you guys listening in. We do have one last comment here. Actually, two more comments here before we get going.
We gotta get Deb in there.
Well, no, I know. Listen, I was gonna skip Deb. I just forgot that Neymar had a third one there. Said I have Ravens beating the Chiefs and Lions beating the 49ers. Again, Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll give you guys our picks. I can just tell you that Rob and I picked 3 out of the 4 winners. I can tell you that on both the wins and the spread picks there last week. So we didn't do too shabby. It's almost like we know what we're talking about there. So keep an eye out for that. That's Thursday. Oh, yes. Deb says, I did think the Bucs adjusted well to the weather in Detroit. Yes, they really did. The weather was not an issue for them yeah. They made that walk from the bus to the dome and just
10 seconds.
They went in there saying nothing's going to stop us. We're going to play well no matter what kind of weather hits us for that 30-feet walk. And I congratulate them. All right, guys. We will see you guys again Wednesday night. Stay safe, stay happy, and as always, Giant fans,
go G-Man!
Go G-Man!
G-Man!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.